Good morning and welcome to Real Estate Radio Denver, the most informative hour of radio of the weekend. And we're here every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. right here on News Talk 710 KNUS. Thank you so much for joining me. I'm your host, Tom Souther, and Real Estate Radio Denver is dedicated to building Denver's housing and credit marketplace. We're here to give you that timely truth about that real estate, mortgage, credit, financial market, that truth we feel you're just not getting from the national news outlets, and sometimes not even from the locals. You know, oftentimes the locals are just spewing out what they hear on the national stage, and our Denver's a little bit different. We're a market in ourselves, and we don't necessarily follow the national trends. So anyway, we're here to help rebuild that Denver marketplace. We do it one home at a time, hopefully helping you with your home. And we do that by giving you some great advice, a little education. We connect you with professionals that can help you, whether that's buying or selling your home. Maybe you've got a credit situation, or maybe you want a little financial tip. So within every market, there are solutions and just tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted advice. That's what you'll hear every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. right here on News Talk 710 KNUS. As always, I really encourage you to stay in contact with the show. Leave us a message on our off-air number. We would love to answer your questions on air and get you any help you need. That number is 720-515-1818, 720-515-1818. Leave me a message. Send me a text. That works great. Again, 720-515-1818. If you want to send me an email, it's tom@realestateradiodenver.com. And as always, please friend us on Facebook. You can find us at Real Estate Radio Denver on Facebook, and we would love to have you as a friend and follow what we're doing and see what's going on in the marketplace at all times. So this week, it's been a couple of weeks for me. Last week, I'm not supposed to say this, but we ran a rerun because I wasn't feeling very well. And I had a little vacation, had some people filling in on the show. So it's good to be back in the chair and telling you what's going on in the marketplace. There's some crazy stuff going on, as always. Well, maybe not that crazy. And I have a great guest today. I'm going to go ahead and get him introduced, and we'll throw him into the conversation. I have with me today Philip Kranefuss. He is one of the owner-founders of SPX Realty. Sure. They are a new boutique firm in town, and they're expanding very rapidly and making a pretty big name for themselves. Philip, thank you. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much. Great to be here.
Yeah, we're going to have some fun today. We're going to talk about, Philip's got some great topics for us. We're going to just talk about what's going on, how this market is changing Denver. And really, we've seen a lot of changes, I think, in the last month or two, even where the market's picking up. One of the things that's affecting it that I wanted to throw out there as a mortgage lender, as you know, I'm a mortgage advisor with Citywide Home Loans, who I love dearly. They're a great company. And rates are on the rise a little bit. So I thought I would throw in a little time on that because I think there's a panic out there. Maybe not a panic, but what do you think, Philip? Do you think people are seeing rates go up and are going, oh my gosh, I've missed it?
I think there's a perception that the opportunity may be starting to go away a little bit.
Yeah.
We saw prices rise quite a bit this year. Within this year, we saw some pretty big changes. I think people weren't expecting home prices to rise quite as dramatically as they have.
Yeah, and I don't want to get too far into that because we're going to go there in a minute. But as far as rates are concerned, what I want to throw out is, as a mortgage guy, I've been doing this for 13 years now, and they are, yes, I think the opportunity to get a rate at 3.5% on a 30-year fix is probably gone. But FHA rates are, low fours. Always check your APR. And, conventional rates a little higher than that. Those are still world-class rates. So take the panic out. There's still huge opportunity out there to get an effective rate that's just so low. It's crazy. It's almost still free money. We also have some tricks for first-time home buyers. There's mortgage credit certificates. There's a couple of other things that we can drive that rate down. So please don't think that you have missed the market because of rate. Just don't. Just jump back in. And we would love to help you. Again, give me a call, 720-515-1818. I saw a couple articles in CNN Money recently, 5 things to know about raising rates. No more record rates, but still cheap loans. Yeah, absolutely. That's one of the things they're talking about. Rates are high, but people are still getting their houses.
Yeah, and interesting point also is a lot of the rates, even though they are going up a little bit, they're still well below that pre-downturn was going on there. I mean, a lot of people were doing the 2-year ARMs, 3-year ARMs to get 5 3/8.
Yeah,
and now we're well below 5, still hovering around 4.
Yeah, and I still like to say they're just world-class rates. So
it's a great time for that.
I wouldn't be scared of it. But here they say no more record rates. And I think that's kind of a lie. Are they record? But no. But are they rates that any time in the last 10 or 15 years that most people would have killed for? Absolutely. So one of the things that this article mentions in CNN Money is the refi window is starting to close. And I wanted to throw that out a little bit because my focus is mostly purchase business, but I do a good bit of refinances for my customers. And the interesting thing that I've seen on that I want to throw out is, yes, rates are a little higher, but as Philip mentioned earlier, prices have increased. So people who could not refinance a year ago now have the value in their home that maybe they can. And if you're at 5% or 5.5% or 6% or 8%, there is still just a huge opportunity to refinance right now. Make a call. If you call me, I'd love to have your earn your business, but call your friendly mortgage professional and find out if that's still an option for you. Do not think because the news says rates are going through the roof that that's the case and you're knocked out of the market. So again, that number is 720-515-1818, and we'll see if we can help you. It's a 5 or 10 minute conversation to find out if there's help for you. The other cool anomaly is you're seeing adjustable interest rates come back in again, but that's a whole other discussion. We're going to take a little break. You're listening to Real Estate Radio on News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm here with Philip Kranefuss. Why am I having trouble with that?
It's kind of a doozy of a last name.
With SPX Realty. We're going to be right back. Welcome to Real Estate Radio Denver. I'm back, and I'm here in studio with Philip Kranefuss with SPX Realty. He is a realtor and owner of SPX, one of the founders. I think, Philip, a good place to start on this segment. We beat up rates a little bit. I wanted to throw in, because I mentioned offhandedly adjustable rate mortgages, ARMs, right before we went on break. So I'm going to steal a minute here. Because people are starting to talk about those again. I'm having conversations with customers, and the rates are a little bit better on those adjustables, but I'm still kind of scared of them. Maybe it's the right loan if you know you're going to be out of your home, and maybe it's 3 to 5 years, or it's a shorter term, or there's a lot of reasons that might be the right thing for you. But I hate to put people into those adjustable rate mortgages just because that's all they can afford right now, because those are going to go up.
Yeah.
Historically they've been a reasonable value, but I still think if you can nail a fixed rate mortgage at 4.5%, I think that's the opportunity. You gotta do it. But I wanted to throw out there that that's something that's happening now. I saw some figures the other day that about 6% of the recent mortgage locks were heading towards adjustable rate mortgages, and I was kind of shocked at that number because it's not even a conversation I've had with a customer in the last couple of years. So anyway, Philip, tell me a little bit about SPX. Let's start there and give you an opportunity to talk about you guys. I know you're building that business and looking for additional real estate brokers, if nothing else. And
yeah, we're always
a little bit about SPX. What makes you guys special?
Well, I think we saw market opportunity. Things changed structurally in the real estate market post downturn. 2007 going to 2008 and beyond. And really, I think it was twofold. I think what brokers need is to have a little bit more equitable fee structure when they close. I think some of the models, the fee structures are sort of a legacy of pre-downturn. And right now it's important for brokers. They're feeling the squeeze just like consumers, just like everybody else, keeping a little bit more of that commissions earning in their own pocket is huge, and that's one part of it. So the savings, the value, that's a huge thing that we focus on. But that's just one side of the coin. The other side is support. Real estate has also changed in how we do business, how we find people to work with. And within a lot of that, it's much more planned now. I think brokers that are successful in today's market, they're able to be successful because they're coming in with a plan. They've got systems that they're working and leveraging every day, and that's where the results come from. It's not so much the type of market where you get your license, you get some cards, and all of a sudden the business just comes rolling in.
A sign in somebody's yard, and all of a sudden you're off and running. It's more complicated than that.
I think so. It's very much what you've put together and work towards is what you're earning. And I think that's where SPX is special and unique, just in the way that we empower our brokers. We give them turnkey marketing, lead generation platforms, lead conversion systems, all of which is tried and true, things that work, and then we teach them how to run it. It's very high quality, highly supportive, and I think that's why brokers are able to be successful. A lot of them have platforms that are working, and what we can do with that is actually roll in some additional systems, and that's powerful. And that's why I think with the combination of support as well as the fee structure, I think we're ahead of the curve. I think what you're going to see is a lot more of the firms looking like us 2, 3, 5, 10 years down the road, just because post-downturn, there has been that structural change, and we've all had to adjust. The consumers had to adjust. Mortgage lenders have had to adjust.
No, we haven't adjusted.
Well, and now brokerage firms are...
Yeah, we've only lost about 70%, which is probably a good thing of... I'm going to use this term loosely from 5 years ago, mortgage professionals, because I think... There were a lot that weren't very professional in that time period, and it's good to see that. Quite honestly, I'm happy about the downturn on my side of the fence, on the mortgage side, because we've weeded a lot of bad apples out of that.
Well, I think on both sides, on the mortgage side as well as the real estate side, it's there was where the market got, it was so big, and now with this contraction, I think it's really kind of kept the top brokers, the best performing brokers, the ones that are doing the best job for their clients. And I think that's structurally the best thing for the real estate industry. In some ways, that was a good thing with that downturn. Yeah. Obviously, a lot of fallout, but that can be seen as positive.
And I think there's an opportunity for new agents in this marketplace who
very much so
are thinking out of the box a little bit, and are able to embrace this new paradigm of how the industry works and how that business works and what you have to do to be successful, because I think it's different now than it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago.
Certainly.
And I'm encouraged. I work with a number of fairly new agents, less than 3 or 4 or 5 years in the business, and they're killing it, and it's good to see, and they're providing huge service. Yeah. With an organization like yours that's thinking on their behalf, which makes them better for their customers.
Exactly. We empower our brokers. I think it's a win-win. They do a better job for their customers, and that's how you really establish a career in real estate, by doing the right things, being supportive with your clientele, and that business will come back to you versus the type of broker that maybe was just looking for the quick buck and is one and done.
Cool. Well, SPX Realty. How do they get a hold of you?
303-331-6430. That is the office line, the direct line. I'm the managing broker as well, so just call and ask for me should you be interested. You can also email me at Kranefuss, Kranefuss, at spxrealty.com. And, of course, check out our website at spxrealty.com as well.
spxrealty.com. Let's talk about the market. Denver is so funny. It has been a crazy wild ride for the last year. We went from short sales and bank owns and all kinds of distressed properties to market taking off to now we're kind of settling in a little bit. How does this all? What is it today? How does this market work?
Yeah, no, it's been a very interesting year. You're right. We had a lot of that foreclosure activity, a lot of flatness in the higher price points. Yeah. And all of a sudden, I think a lot of people weren't expecting prices to have risen quite as dramatically as they have this year. It got really heated through middle, late spring and early midsummer. And I think we're entering a little bit of flatness right now. But really what was driving it was all of a sudden that consumer confidence really increased. That demand was much bigger than we had before. Some of that was also the economy shoring up.
Right.
And some of it was
was rate driven, I think, too. Just people were going, oh, my gosh, the rates are so low, I've got to buy.
Yeah, very much, very much. And I think that's still what's, as prices have gone up and rates have gone up a little bit, you're still seeing that activity very hot and heavy. And I think that's a lot of those people that are sort of perceiving that the opportunity is not going to be quite as great in the future, in the next coming months or this time next year. So let's get while the getting's good.
Are listings up a little bit? Is inventory, the number of homes on the market, days of, you guys, real estate agents, measure that in days on market. Is that on the rise at this point?
A little bit, yeah. I think some of the heat is starting to dissipate somewhat because of those rates going up. Prices just based on what's been happening have been rising. And in fact, you're seeing homes that maybe a couple of years ago couldn't sell at $225. Now they're going under contract and selling within 2 days, 3 days on the market at $250.
Sure.
And now kind of the next wave of homes is coming out at $260, $265, $270. Kind of looking at what that trend line is. And in some cases, they might be a little bit overpriced, according to fair market value. So I think those are some of the aspects that are, and some of it is seasonal as well, as we're, getting late summer into the fall. It starts to dissipate a little bit. But
kids are set in school. Families don't want to move as much by the traditional thinking.
But I think this is the phase that's leading us slowly back to a more normal, balanced market. As prices have gone up, more and more sellers are saying, "Wait a minute, I thought I'd be locked out from selling for another 2 or 3 years, just with where prices are. Gosh, it's gone up a little bit more than I anticipated. Hey, maybe let's test the market. Or let's test the market next spring or next summer." So we're seeing that listing volume increase, and I think that's going to be better matched with the amount of demand that's in the market right now as well.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Now, are we seeing multiple offers still?
Yeah. I mean, it's got to be priced
pretty
right.
quickly, yeah.
Yeah, I think for the right home, what buyers are really responding to is move-in ready. A lot of people just aren't looking to close and then put a bunch of money on a credit card or lay out some cash to, replace the carpet or, paint the interior. So move-in ready, not having projects is huge. And then any of those little remodeling, the upgraded touches, the granite countertops, stainless or upgraded appliances, upgraded flooring, that's sort of, it's kind of the list.
Big difference, sure.
Yep, that all adds to the mix.
And are you finding that people are listing, and are they able to find that next home? I think that's a big question in many people's mind is, okay, I think I can sell my house fairly quickly at a good price, but am I going to be able to find that next one?
Yep.
And that's been a function of that, inventory low, I can sell, but gosh, where do I go?
Yeah, that, or if I find the right home for me, does that mean that I'm showing up and there's already 3 other offers and they're bidding above list price, no concessions, that whole thing? So, yeah, I think there's some anxiety as, wow, hey, I can sell my house now, let's get this on the market. But what does the buy side following up on that look like?
Yeah, and I would have said 6 months, a year ago, man, it was such a perfect time to buy that dream home, that upper end home. And that market, I think, is getting, back to normal a little bit more.
It's getting healthier.
There's much more value there than in the first-time homebuyer price range. But
yeah, agreed.
But is that still an opportunity for people to buy that just dream home that they've always wanted?
I think so. You're right. Prices, I mean, what we saw, one of the characteristics of that downturn market, post 2008 up until about, early this year was that, a lot of that was really flat above 300K. There just wasn't a lot of activity. We needed that property ladder dynamic, that person that's selling at 250 that can then take their proceeds and buy the 450. But a lot of those sales at 250 were short sales or foreclosures or this or that. So they're kind of one and done. Now that we're seeing things start to, normalize, I guess, is I'm using air quotes here, but as
you can't see that on the radio, they just can't see those quote marks.
It's somewhat normalizing now, and but I think it's still a good opportunity. It's so heated as you get lower in the price points because there's all that investor demand, trying to pick stuff up for the rental market. But what we're seeing now is actually new construction coming back as well. A lot of people are saying, hey, it's tough to get under these, resales. But boy, that new community down the road, and it's price aggressive, and you're getting into your home, and also we're seeing a little bit of changes in construction. I think some of the new floor plans and things like that are intriguing people as well, and perhaps that's driving some of that.
Well, and I'm so excited that the building industry is back.
Yeah,
because there was 2 years ago you couldn't find a new construction home.
Yeah.
You could go and convince them to build one for you, but you wouldn't find one they've started to build. They were building as they sold them. And now you look at these neighborhoods and they're just going gangbusters.
They really are. And I think it's a great thing for the economy, for the market, and that's one area that, what's very much been a characteristic that was driving so much of this activity early in the year was just a huge amount of demand, very little supply.
Right.
And now, that's creating the conditions where supply is opening up, and some of that is coming from the new construction.
Yeah, I think you're absolutely right. I think there's a lot of folks in that period that couldn't find what they wanted in the used market and used home market, and would have preferred to buy a used home perhaps, but just couldn't find it. And they push them to the new builds.
Yeah. Yep.
To the new builds, and they're, still not done. But
it's taken off. I think one thing we can say is that this year I think was a surprise for many people that prices rose the way that they did. That new construction has come back. So I think these are some of the signs that we're anticipating maybe 2-3 years down the road.
Yeah, you're listening to Real Estate Radio Denver. We're going to be back in just a minute and give you plenty more on what's going on in the market. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Denver. I'm your host, Tom Souther, and I'm here in studio with Philip Kranefuss of SPX Realty. He is the managing broker, and SPX is a fairly new shop in town, expanding rapidly. You're looking for agents.
We always are.
Throw that out there.
Yep.
So give them a call. You can reach, how do they reach you, Philip?
Phone number is 303-331-6430. Just ask for me. Again, I'm very accessible. I'm the managing broker. I'm usually on the phone or available in that way. You can also email me. I mentioned the email address earlier. Again, it's pkranefuss at spxrealty.com. PKRANEFUSS at spxrealty.com, or you can check out the website and link to us that way, or social media as well. Yeah. We're all over Facebook. So.
spxrealty.com. And they're looking for new agents, experienced, preferably, I'm assuming, but you talk to almost anybody?
We're
too broad.
Yeah, no, it's not. We don't just take any
if
warm
you can
body.
Fog a mirror. No,
it's very different, and we are looking for the right type of broker. The broker that works best with us is one that's hungry, motivated to succeed, wants to do the right things both for their client as well as for their business, and with the tools, the systems that we have to support our brokers, I think that's where we're ideally suited with those brokers that want to, take that education and sort of take that ball and run with it.
Yeah, awesome. I also want to just throw out the show number, because you can reach me at any time. It's off air, but leave me a message. If you've got a question, we'll throw it on next week. And you can reach me at 720-515-1818. 720-515-1818. We'll get back to you whatever that is, or if you want me to connect you with Philip, I can do that, or any of our prior shows, or if you want to talk about a refinance, or you want to get qualified for a purchase, hey, there's an option. I love that. One of the things this is off the reservation a little bit, but I thought I would throw out, just because we were talking about rates going up and people are out there thinking, gosh, I still can't get that first home. But the reality of it is rents are probably going up faster than rates.
They have.
And it's still just such a perfect time for that first-time home buyer. And I want to dispel a couple of those myths, and Philip will back me up on this, about down payment and how easy it is for us to get you into that first home, even if you have very limited funds. With reasonably good credit, doesn't have to be perfect. And with $1,000 or $1,500, we can probably get you into a home with some of the new down payment assistance programs. There's something in almost every community. There's some just great options to get you into that first home. And I encourage you, call, have a 5 or 10 minute conversation with my team at Citywide Home Loans about whether that's right for you. We're very high pressure. We push people into things they don't like, and no, it's a very easy conversation. And I'm all about making sure that decision is right for you. So again, leave us a message. We'd love to get back to you and find out if that's right for you. 720-515-1818, or put you together with Philip or one of his team, and to find you that perfect forever home for you. Again, 720-515-1818. Builders. Mm-hmm. We kind of left off there. The one thing that I think people don't realize, and that I want to throw out, because if you're looking at homes and you're looking at new homes, and I see this happen all the time, or you're looking at used homes, and all of a sudden you say, "Oh gosh, I want to check out that community that's putting up houses, down the street, down the road, the one flipping the sign out there on the street." Take your agent with you. They can help you. They are a huge resource. And quite honestly, those builders are spending a lot of money and time and effort with organizations around town to encourage that relationship with real estate agents. So they really like you to come in represented. Is that your experience, Philip?
I think so. I think they very much want to reach out to brokers, to real estate agents, saying, hey, make sure your clients are aware that there's some pretty good options here with the new construction, because, again, very much those dynamics that you mentioned. Tough to get under contracts. A lot of times you're making an offer and there's multiple offers. People are bidding up, above list price, right. No concessions, that type of stuff. And you can be a little bit more proactive when you're looking at a new construction community. So there's some great options there, especially right now. They're a little bit more on the aggressive side, I think, just to get that business back. And having a broker, a real estate agent representing you, it doesn't add to the fee. The new construction firm is set up to handle the commission for that broker. But you've got something that's coming in that can help you negotiate on the front end, and it does make a difference. You can get some pretty good deals, and also something that's looking over the transaction with you. You got a second set of eyes, especially somebody that's in the industry and can look out for your best interest. A lot of times, right before the actual closing, when that new construction is completed and you're doing that walkthrough, typically it's just with the builder, and you're kind of putting tape marks on the wall and things like that for the little items. I think even though it's new construction, a lot of times it's still imperative. Take your inspector in there, especially make sure there's no water running, through the bottom of the house. Or
I've seen so many strange things happen, in homes that I've owned or neighbors and whatnot. The water heater's hooked up, backwards, whatever. There's just a million things. That's a big, complex project to build a home. And I think you're right. It's not a bad idea to take an inspector with you, but certainly have that representation, because it doesn't cost you a penny to have a real estate agent on your side representing you in that transaction. It costs you nothing.
And it greatly increases the odds that you get the best end of the transaction, and at the same time minimizes the likelihood that, some funky little item, comes up and ends up biting you down the road. Or
Yep. Let's talk about some of the experiences on the buyer and seller side, and maybe there's a tip or two that you can help with somebody who's looking right now.
Certainly.
What do you think's the top couple of things that somebody should do to be prepared?
Well, I think on the buyer side, we've kind of been hitting on a lot of these points already, but it's difficult. The experience, I think, for a lot of buyers is they'll go out looking with their broker. They'll kind of select their 6 or 7 homes they want to see over the weekend. They'll check them out. Circle back. 5
of them will be gone by the time they actually get there. No, I'm kidding.
Well, in some cases, typically what happens is then after they're done looking, they'll talk to their broker. Hey, we like this one. Why don't you call the broker on the sell side, on the listing side, and see what the opportunity is, if there's any activity already, that sort of stuff. And what we've seen, and I think that heat's starting to die off just a little bit, but really through kind of the hot and heavy period, typically the call for the broker to the other broker was, hey, I got my clients here, they're interested in the home. What's going on with it? Oh, well, we got 4 offers. We're calling for highest and best. The highest price is above list price already. And we'll, have our decision by 10 tomorrow, that sort of thing. And that's,
I think the good buyer's agent at that point is asking, okay, well, it's not necessarily about price. what else does the buyer need or the seller need to make my offer unique?
Yeah, I mean, well, and
maybe
you know,
it's date, maybe it's closing time, or it's,
a lot of times. Well, as the buyers have gotten very much, they were it was really very much a buyer's market sort of through the duration of this downturn, and now very quickly we found ourselves in very much a seller's market, and the seller has a lot more power, and yeah, they're driving things, looking for the offers where they don't have to pay concessions, looking for what's going to be the most convenient as far as their move out time frame. So sometimes if they've got an extended period, they want to stay in the home through the summer instead of the typical 30-day close or so. They're looking at 90 days, something like that. So these are all aspects where the it just made it tough on the buyers. And kind of what I was saying before is, when you're calling through and hey, you find out that opportunities, wow, they got 4 offers already. They'll go out the next Saturday, kind of have the same experience, and then all of a sudden, very quickly, it's you see a home come on the market. You're not waiting until the weekend. Right. You're coming out that night, and really best, if it is that right home, very much still, buyers are having to come in with a very strong offer. One of the best things you can do is if you're making that strong offer is really pare down the acceptance deadline time, so at least you keep that window open where another offer can come in, and all of a sudden it's a game changer if you're competing with somebody else. But keeping that window open for the shortest duration is key. Perfect.
You're listening to Real Estate Radio Denver here on News Talk 710 KNUS. I'm here with Philip Kranefuss of SPX Realty. Come on back. We got a lot more about the market. Welcome back to Real Estate Radio Denver. I'm your host, Tom Souther, and I am here with Philip Kranefuss of SPX Realty, the managing broker. And we're filling you in on what's going on in this marketplace. Denver has been truly interesting over the last year, sitting here as a mortgage professional with Citywide Home Loans and watching it swirl around has truly been interesting. We've gone from seller's market to buyer's market, which we talked about, and it's just so exciting to watch how that works and how it affects buyers and sellers. We've been talking about buyers and what their experiences has been. I'd like to move over to the seller side a little bit. Actually, before I do that, let me throw out our phone number. I would love to chat with you. So please call us off air, 720-515-1818, and leave me a message or send me a text. I'd love to chat, whether that's, I'm thinking about buying a home, or maybe my kids are, in that age group that they're ready for their first home. How do they make that happen? We can talk about how little down you really need to make that go. There's some unbelievable programs. Just a new one a couple of months ago started in Denver that will grant you 4% of your purchase price. You don't have to pay it back. It's a free gift. Certain qualifications, but it's pretty easy money. And there's a bunch of those. So don't let anybody tell you you've got to save up for 5 years until you have 20% or 10%. Jump in now. The water is good. And, we were talking about that a little bit, Philip, I think, earlier. And I love that first-time home buyer market. I'm off the reservation here again on what we were planning, but I'm gonna go there just for fun. Because I think that's such a huge portion of the marketplace right now. If you look at age demographics, you've got us old baby boomers, not you, of course, but me. I'm on the tail end of that baby boomers. And my children are 20 and 26 years old, and most baby boomers' children are a little older than that, and they are the market. They are buying homes. They're buying their first homes, and it's a huge wave, and there's a huge first-time home buyer market. So I love to get out the correct information to that group. So if you're if you're renting, and the rental market is crazy, as everybody's seen, rental rates are going up, hugely. It's very possible that you can buy a home with very little money into it.
And I think, you touched on, you mentioned a number of times, hey, give us a call, give you a call. And I think a lot of times, of course, if you're ready or soon to be ready, you're going to be making that call. But I think also a lot of times, be proactive. I mean, there's different things coming down the pike. Yes. The market's changing. I think the buyers and the sellers that do the best on the market are the ones that kind of start thinking ahead, touching base with the broker, with the lender, whatever's appropriate. and kind of starting to get a sense of what's going on, letting that information percolate. And by the time they're ready to hit the market, I think they're much better planned and much more ready to really take advantage of the best of what the market has to offer.
And sometimes I'm going to throw this in too, because this is a little out there, is sometimes you're thinking, gosh, I sure wish I could buy, but I've got a credit issue or I've got something that needs attention. Start that process now.
Yeah, talk to somebody.
Call me. Let's take a look. Let's see what we can do to get you ready in 6 months or 3 months or a year. If it takes a year, it takes a year. But if you let it sit, it never gets corrected. So make that call, 720-515-1818. Let us help you. We'll take a look at your situation. If we can get you into a home instead of a rental, God, I'd love to do that. It's why I'm in this business. So anyway, let's talk about where were we going? Seller experience. Let's talk about what's going on with sellers right now, and
Sure.
How do they prepare themselves in their home, and what's their expectation?
Well, I think it's been interesting because I think, first off, a lot of sellers didn't anticipate they'd be able to sell or sell for as much as what's transpired so far this year. So I think for a lot of people, it was kind of, looking around, seeing what's going on in the neighborhood. Then, whoa, hey, the house down the road sold for what? That kind of gets the wheels turning. And so I think there are quite a number of people that are entering the market, on the listing side that maybe weren't expecting to do so for another 2 or 3 years. So
I've got a great story there. Talking to a very good friend of mine, old friend of mine last night. Have been talking with him about a refinance for months, and finally they kind of got off the fence about 6 weeks ago, got halfway through this, and they just decided, you know what, we've got so much value now that we didn't have a year ago in our home. And they're in Aurora, which has gotten hit probably hardest in the marketplace.
One of the harder ones.
One of the harder ones.
80013 was one of the short sale leaders for a long time.
Yeah, and that's where they are. And, last week they said, this is silly. We really want more of our dream home. We can sell, and doing exactly what you're talking about. They're at a place in the market that they can sell, they can make a little money, and they can move on to that home that they really want and let it appreciate as the market climbs versus stay in the home that they're a little cramped in and ready to move on to a different place.
Yeah, right now I think a lot of people are stepping into, hey, this is our forever home or our 20-year home.
I love that forever home term.
Yeah. So I think, we're seeing a window where, the sale side looked a lot more attractive for a lot of sellers, but the buy side is still a great opportunity. So it's kind of an interesting time that you can really make a lot of headway both on the sales side and still step into a great opportunity to where, what I always said was the people that bought, through this downturn period are going to look back and really be thankful that they did, just because of the cost of the opportunity was so low, the type of stuff where 5-10 years from now, you're going to be talking to your neighbors and, their mortgage rates, their payments, it's going to be in a different spectrum than where people that bought at this time are. So I think that's what's fueling a lot of it. And again, I think a lot of sellers were just surprised that opportunity was now available to them and they could capitalize, and they're doing so. But I think to capitalize, you got to do certain things right. And the homes that are doing best on the market are the ones that are move-in ready. They're showing well. If it's not fully staged, just some light staging, or sometimes just even moving furniture around to give a room a little bit more pop, or sometimes you've got those big, huge, oversized couches and they make the room feel small, and maybe take one of those out and all of a sudden, wow, look at the space. And a lot of it is just, in recognition that buyers sometimes, have trouble seeing the potential with what a home could be. So you almost have to spell it out for them, on the sell side. So I think that's the one part. I think pricing, what I think we're seeing some of what's slowing down the market a little bit right now is that prices increase so rapidly, but there's still kind of a ceiling there. It's not like they're just going to go up and up and up. And we're seeing a new wave of homes coming on the market that are probably looking at their pricing based on what just happened and maybe a tick north of there. And some of that stuff is
bumping
still
that ceiling a little bit.
Yeah. So, I mean, if you hit it right, get that home in move-in ready condition, it's showing well. Hopefully you've got some upgrades, a few of the features that we talked about, the upgraded flooring or countertops, designer paint, whatever it may be. But if you're doing all that, it's still very much a market where within a week or 2 weeks, you'll likely be seeing multiple offers. Very likely, again, if you're priced right, to see something, at list price or above. But I think we're also starting to see a little bit of that softening, that heat isn't quite the same. So if you do overprice it, or if you're not matching some of those other conditions, it may not be the same experience. So it's still, I think there's this, well, holy cow, things are going great. As a seller, you can just do whatever, put it out there, put the price.
Yeah, and I'm not sure if that's ever been the case.
Well, and that's,
I think people who overprice have them sit, and those are the homes that are there for 2 or 3 weeks or a month or 2 months. And I think as a buyer, you see that, as certainly as a buyer's agent.
Yep.
Granted, there's some homes that go under contract and something happens to the transaction and they come back on and off. Mm-hmm. But generally, I think the ones that sit are, they're playing let's see if we can get somebody to take a price that maybe isn't.
Yeah, let's see if that one person
condition.
Yeah.
I don't want to scare people off that they've got to do all those things. They've got to have the granite and they've got to have the.
I think those are nice to haves.
But, if you're dealing with a good real estate professional, like they would be with someone from SPX, mm-hmm. They're going to price that home correctly.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. It's about getting a realistic estimate or valuation of what that property is going to sell for.
Yeah.
And that you need somebody who really understands the market.
I think so. And especially because it's volatile and it's changing. I mean, things that were happening in January, February, March timeframe were very much different than April, May, June. And even what we're seeing now in August and beyond, it's a swift recovery. Denver's sort of like any market, it's got its own local conditions, but I think very much nowadays it just takes a little bit more to get that home, sure. on the market and really able to be, sold and get the best of what's available. It takes a lot to get your buyer under contract. And I think it's really raised the game. Agents have to be a bit savvier, they have to be better trained, more competent. And again, a little blurb about SPX. That's where I think we really provide a unique difference in the way that we support our brokers and give them those skills so that they're best positioned for today's market as well as the future market coming down the road.
If you had to advise a seller on how to choose an agent, what kind of advice would you give them? Other than call SPX.
Yeah. No, just call us directly, 303-331-6430. No, in all seriousness, look, when I'm meeting with a prospect or potential seller, I'd love them just to talk to me and hey, we're good to go. I still think, talk to a few brokers, and especially if you haven't, been on the market or if you don't have a trusted resource that you're already working with. If nothing else, those conversations are going to give you data points, give you more information so that by the time you pull the trigger with whichever broker or whatever situation you find is best, you're, again, armed a little bit, to make sure that you're getting the best opportunity and minimizing the risks and so on and so forth. Yeah. So I think talking with a few people, staying up on the news, but really I think ultimately it's going to be getting connected with that top broker, somebody that's going to do a good job for them, that's going to be able to provide a consultative service, basically guide them through this process and help them get the best of the opportunity.
Yeah, because I don't buy, you hear advertisements recently about, you just throw a sign in your yard and your home will sell. Why do you need, expertise? BS.
Yeah.
Some of the things you've talked about here, that staging process, this is an emotional transaction on both sides, the seller and the buyer. And the buyer is sitting there in a home that they love and probably, and they've built and they've stuffed things into. And, sometimes it's hard medicine to say, you know what, grandma's couch has got to go. Or some of those things that you feel so strongly about that as a real estate agent, you would tell them, I know that's very important to you, but people are going to see that
that market perspective,
or it's going to be too much in that room. These things have to go.
Yeah.
So that's what you're paying for in that professional, is that and the market analysis and all of these pieces that that really make your home sell in a couple of days.
And not just that, it's the full 360.
Sure.
It's not just the upfront stuff, showing homes or putting the sign in the yard, getting the home ready to sell, negotiating when that offer comes in,
right.
And not just price, but also terms, conditions, things like that. And then once you're under contract, nowadays it's... that's, a whole nother animal. The inspection negotiation can be sometimes dicey in any market, but especially in today's market. And then also, lending, appraisal, things like that. There's a lot more
lending
questions.
is easy. You just call Citywide. You just call my phone, 720-515-1818, and we get that taken care of. Philip, this has been a fantastic show. I want to thank you for coming in. Philip Kranefuss with SPX Realty. Again, man, it's been fabulous having you in.
Oh, thank you.
And hopefully we can do this again. Again, I want to encourage you, please give us a call. You can reach us on our off-air number at 720-515-1818, 720-515-1818. And don't forget, come back every Saturday from 9 to 10 a.m. right here on News Talk 710 KNUS. Thanks so much. Bye-bye.